Hey there everybody, I am Scott and welcome into my time machine. Today I am going to review Dune Prophecy, Episode 2. We'll hit what I believe are the highlights. We'll also talk a little bit about what I believe is what's rad and what's bad about this episode. And because I am a super Dune nerd, we'll do a little flashback to the 1984 movie, also a movie that I love oh so much. And of course, I will rate Episode 2, 2 Wolves, 1 to 5 sandworms. 5 sandworms being the best. Okay, Episode 2, 2 Wolves. The good news is we have movement. The pace is a little bit faster than last week. Thank goodness. The bad news, in my opinion, it's still kind of meh, and I'm totally still on the fence about this whole series. We do have some reveals in character this week, and by that I mean we kind of know who the good guys are and we kind of know who the bad guys are. As a matter of fact, we might have one good wolf and one bad wolf. So let's begin with our hunky swordsman, Kieran Atreides. We now know that he's a spy and a rebel, and because he has access to the Carino's palace, he's kind of copied the layout of the palace, and I guess they're going to use that in some sort of attack in future episodes. His deal is that he thinks the Carinos and the dukes and all the higher ups are hogging the spice and using it for their own good. Now, I am unclear now still if he is using the princess to just get intelligence or if he really likes her, but I'm sure that will reveal more in future episodes, and I do kind of like where this storyline might be going. So now let's talk about that Duke Ricci. I don't know how to say it. Rich Cheesy. Let's talk about him. He is all upset this week, and it's totally understandably so. His son was killed last week, and he's looking for answers. Emperor Carino is not really providing much. He's actually just saying, hey, don't worry about it. I got this. So the Duke is not super happy about that. But here's the thing. That Empress, she is one shady lady. That is definitely a character reveal that I was not expecting. She has some very interesting interactions with Desmond Hart this week. You remember Desmond Hart? He is the guy who says he was swallowed by a worm and survived. Well, he is arrested for the murder of that little prince, little emperor guy. And the Empress goes to see him while he's being held, and she's like, okay, listen, tell me what's up. Like, tell me what your story is. Why did you do this? All that kind of thing. And he's like, hey, listen, I'm actually on your team and I can help your house. And she's like, I think this is a good idea. So Ms. Empress goes to Mr. Emperor, her husband, and says, this guy's on our side. We can take full advantage of his powers. That'll keep the Duke in check. And it also means we can get rid of those Bene Gesserit witches. Well, the Emperor obviously listens to his little wifey poo because when the Duke gets out of line, he sicks Hart on him and Hart starts frying him, just like he did with his son. Now, not well done like he did with the son, but enough to scare the crap out of him. The other spotlighted storyline this week is on Lila. She is the great-great-granddaughter of the OG Mother Superior, Raquella. Now, Lila agrees to undergo the agony ceremony in an attempt to get some answers about all of this mess. The death of the little kid, the death of the Reverend Mother Kesha, and maybe even like, who the heck is this Desmond Hart guy, and how does it relate to the prophecy? All of that kind of on Lila's shoulders. Lila actually agrees to the ceremony because as part of the ritual, she knows that she'll meet the descendants, her female descendants. And supposedly she was told that her mother died during childbirth, so fingers crossed she might run into her. Well, as the ceremony is underway, it looks like Lila gets her wish. Her mother is coming through. However, it's not her mother, it's her grandma. And her grandma is the lady who was killed by Valia. I know that's probably confusing, I'm sorry, but if you watch the episode, maybe it'll make sense. If you haven't watched the episode yet, then just kind of pay attention to the grandma, great-grandma, Lila, whole thing. Anyways, that's what went down. So, it appears things go really wrong, and Lila may have died during the ceremony. I don't believe she's dead. I think she's in some sort of coma. We'll totally forget about her in future episodes. And then in like the last episode when things are just crazy, there'll be this like tight shot of Lila's eyes and they open and everybody's going to be like, oh my gosh, now that she's awake, is she going to rat out Valia? That's my thinking. I'm not really for sure. Now, before she supposedly died or went into this coma state, she did eke out some words about a man who was born naturally and then of spice. We believe that that's a reference to Desmond Hart, but who knows, there could be other things happening. What's rad about episode 2? Well, I really love this scene between Desmond Hart and Valia. Valia confronts him about the murders and about everything that's going on, and it does not go well. They are obviously not fans of each other. And Valia actually uses the voice again on Desmond to kill him. She kind of tells him to put the knife up to his neck. And guess what? The voice does not work on Desmond Hart, so I really love that. And the look on Valia's face is not great. But I do love seeing that non-Bene Gesserit side of Valia. She wears her emotions sometimes right on her cold, hard face. And, you know, in some ways you kind of think, oh, she's a Bene Gesserit, you know, Mother Superior, so she's kind of bad. Be like, don't worry, I'll get him some other way. No, she's like, oh crap, this guy does not like me and he has some serious cards to play. So she kind of trots off. I do like that. So what's bad about episode 2? Well, I am still trying to figure out this illegitimate son, Constantine, this illegitimate Carino. I know he's got a shredded body and he's got rock hard abs and he's gorgeous and all that stuff. But for me, still, that is not enough. The Dune nerd in me completely overrides the gay guy and the eye candy part of this scene. So there's a particular scene in this episode where he's having sex and it goes on, the scene goes on way too long. I know they're trying to like fill in a few of some information in the episode by having a little convo, some drugs, some sex, but for me, it was a complete snoozer. The scene probably could have been like half of the time. Now, I will say the partner, his little sex partner in this scene was Duke Richizi's daughter. She obviously likes to party and have a lot of fun. That's what I'm trying to say. But for me, the whole scene was just like, oh, can we just get through this to get to the other stuff? I am still unclear. Are they just kind of throwaway characters where they're just trying to fill in some dots? Or are they actually going to end up being more prominent in the storyline at some point in a future episode? Before I rate this episode 1 to 5 sandworms, let's do my little flashback to the 1984 movie that is like one of my favorite movies ever. This is my time machine moment, people. So if you were to ask a true Dune nerd if they have seen the 1984 movie, they will likely reply to you, well, which one are you talking about? And that's because there are a couple versions floating out there in the world. There is obviously the theatrical version. There is the DVD version with deleted scenes and a bunch of other information on there, a bunch of other stuff on there. There's a TV version, and then there's evidently a fan edit version. I don't know that I've seen that one. But anyways, you will also encounter some probably very opinionated Dune nerds who know exactly which of those versions that they really love. So be careful when you do ask that. For me, I love this DVD. It's got a bunch of extended scenes, so you get to see like a super long movie, which is kind of cool. I also remember the TV version from when I was younger, so that's really neat. But I'm really excited about maybe doing actually doing the flashback next week, because that will be the week of the 40th anniversary of the 1984 movie, the official 40th anniversary. So that's really cool, and there's a really great connection to me, well, not me, but to my surroundings, which is kind of cool. So I can't wait to share that with you next week. Maybe we'll have a little Dune birthday cake. So now I am going to rate this episode 1 to 5 sandworms, 5 sandworms being the best. I think Dune Prophecy, episode 2, The Two Wolves. A lot of 2s in there, and so I think that's probably a pretty good number of sandworms. 2 sandworms. Now, you probably might be thinking, Scott, you have said you liked a lot of this stuff, and I have. However, I definitely think it's picked up since last week. However, I had and have extremely high expectations for this series, and I still do. So I really want it to pick up. So that's why I give it just 2 this week. I am going to watch next week for sure, because from the previews, it looks like we're going to do another time jump, but this time back in time, and we're going to get to learn a little bit more about Valia when she was younger and the Harkonnens. Maybe that episode will be the one to tip me over the edge, and then I become like 4, 5 sandworms. This episode is killing me. It's great. I don't want it to end. But we shall see. Thanks so much for watching what I believe is more of a rant than a review. Please feel free to stay here on my channel and watch all my other retro-inspired reviews and recipes. You are always welcome in my little time machine.